Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out to the Knicks, even though I'm not a Knicks fan, you know what I'm saying? Salute to y'all, because y'all played tough all season. Y'all made it really far. It's looking tough in Atlanta right now, but, you know, it's still a big salute to y'all for coming as far as y'all did. Years after years of not winning, you know what I mean? But on to this news, though. The EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, a branch of the government that worries and monitors about exactly what the name is, they actually put out a statement on Friday saying that employers can mandate their employees to have been vaccinated for COVID-19 if they're coming into the office. Now, this is their second time actually making this statement. The first time was back in December. They're also saying that employers can offer incentives to their employees as long as they're not coercive, like to the point where it's like not really an incentive. It's like mandatory for everybody to do it or whatever. But they didn't necessarily elaborate on what is considered what exactly would be a coercive incentive. So you have companies like Amazon offering their frontline workers $80 bonuses if they get vaccinated. Walmart offering $75 bonuses. Some of these companies are allowing their employees to return and walk in their buildings and offices without a mask, but none of them are actually monitoring who is wearing masks or not. A lot of employers are worried about even making a mandate until the FDA actually fully approves these vaccines, which are currently under emergency use authorization. Green War and Graduation. Streets Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So yesterday was the 100th death anniversary. I don't say anniversaries for shit like that, but 100th death anniversary of the Black Wall Street Massacre, where in Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, African American neighborhood that was thriving without white supremacy, actually was burnt down by a racist white mob in a span of 18 hours, killing almost 300 people. And burning down tons of property. Now, this was considered one of the worst acts of racial violence in United States history, obviously excluding slavery, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, Joe Biden gave a talk in Tulsa, and, you know, he said some things that, you know, seemed like inspiring, seemed like he got his head screwed on right. Also announced that he would be putting Vice President Kamala Harris to lead the federal push to protect voting rights. The White House also announced that they revealed measures that they would take to reduce the racial wealth gap, like addressing housing discrimination and supporting businesses and infrastructure in communities of color. So maybe they on the right path. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So we are 2 days removed from when Texas Democrats had actually staged a walkout in order to block the passing of this sweeping voter suppression bill being pushed by Republicans. And this is not the only voter suppression bill that's being pushed by Republicans. So it's worrying a lot of people that are pro-democracy. And that brings about this statement of concern that was actually conjured up by over 100 scholars, pro-democracy scholars, and it was, you know, released by the think tank known as New America. And in this statement, they basically putting pressure on Congress to actually pass legislation to attack or go against these Republican attempts to suppress votes. Now, they say in addition to a new Voting Rights Act, Congress needs to also address partisan gerrymandering as well as money and ethics in politics. So we'll see if that turns into anything. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So you got immigrant rights groups in the U.S. that are demanding that the Biden administration stop its use of GPS ankle monitors and tracking systems and other technologies to surveil asylum seekers and immigrants in the U.S. So currently it said that nearly 100,000 people are actually walking around with these ankle monitors because they're trying to migrate into the U.S. And you have a panel discussion that actually took place on technology and immigration practices held by immigration groups Mi Gente and Just Futures Law. And they basically, you know, brought up a lot of good points and trying to put pressure on the government. And you had of Mi Gente, Jacinta Gonzalez, actually make a good point where she was saying that you have these companies like Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Anduril, Palantir that are making these technologies at the border, but yet they've been making weapons for these wars for decades. So you have it to where the border being as long as it is, all of these various points of entry, these technology being used is probably going to trickle down to local police departments. But even if it doesn't, you know, they still have just cause for not wanting that shit. Like, where's the freedom, the God-given freedom in that? Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in King County, Washington, this is the state's most populous county. It includes Seattle. And this is headquarters to Amazon and Microsoft, and you'll see why I say that in a second. The council of King County has actually voted to ban facial recognition technology by law enforcement or any other agency. So this is actually a huge thing, and a lot of people, it's something that people are scared of. You had King County Council member Gene Cole Wells actually celebrate the unanimous decision, give a statement saying that government use of facial recognition technology poses distinct threats on members of the community, including more misidentification, bias, and the erosion of civil liberties. Very powerful statement, and very much for anybody who's in technology a legitimate worry, because it gives people, whoever's behind it, a lot of power. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Biden administration has actually suspended the oil and gas leases that were actually allowed for in Alaska's National Wildlife Refuge, Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, during the final weeks of the Trump presidency. So the Interior Department actually said that the environmental impact wasn't properly reviewed for that to have been okayed. So they're suspending that. However, don't think they just, you know what I mean, so about the environment, because this is only a week removed from when the Biden administration actually defended the Willow Master Project, which is to take place in northern Alaska. And this project, it's a multi-billion-dollar deal with ConocoPhillips that's actually set to bring in 100,000 barrels of oil per day for the next 30 years. And is actually threatening to, a threat to fragile wildlife and all that. So you got indigenous and environmental groups suing the government to stop it. So we'll see how this turns out. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Make sure you check out my mixtape too, Still I Grind. It's not anything that you're gonna find on these streaming platforms or whatever. It's a prelude to the album that's on the way, but at _I grind on Instagram is where you'll find it. Every post is its own track. You know what I'm saying? Me spazzing on other people's beats, sometimes a cappella, and just giving y'all that real, you know what I mean? Some real hip hop. And you go check it out and see what I mean when I say that. But on to this news though. You have over in Afghanistan, the capital of Kabul, there actually yesterday, Tuesday, 3 bombs that went off that killed at least 10 people. Now, one of the bombs that went off actually caused a power outage after it had damaged an electric power grid. So this is happening while you have the peace talks that's supposed to be taking place between the Afghan government and the Taliban and the U.S. and all of that, whatever, have actually been stalled while the U.S. is continuing to withdraw troops, which they are planning on being completely done by September 11th. Go figure. Green War and graduation. What other New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/music. You know what I'm saying? It's music from me. It's also the New World Order album that we have, the compilation album with just myself, but also other artists, you know, super friends of mine, you know what I'm saying, other rappers and commentators or whatever. I also have my own albums on there, a lot of mixed stuff, so it's good shit, you know what I mean? Make sure you check that out, support us, we continue to support y'all. Definitely don't just stream by. Now, Sri Lanka is facing a major environmental disaster right now because they have this burning cargo ship containing toxic chemicals that's just sinking off the west coast of the island. This shit has been on fire since May 20th, and it actually people were worried that it's going to spill toxic plastic chemical debris onto the coastline. Environmentalists say that fragile wildlife and ecosystems are actually at risk all the way up to the other side of the island or to the east coast of the island. So I mean, beware. Green Wall and Graduation. Report out of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you got the World Health Organization actually officially listing Sinovac vaccine as an emergency use authorized vaccine. Now, this is the second vaccine for China to actually have emergency use authorization under WHO, the first one being Sinopharm. Now, Sinovac is already in use in a lot of countries, but this listing actually puts it in rotation as part of WHO's COVAX program, where they're trying to get vaccines out to poorer countries. But that makes it the 8th emergency use authorized vaccine out of all the countries on the planet for the World Health Organization, who was also urging America to give this excess supply, the United States of America rather, to give this excess supply of COVID vaccines to South America. You had Dr. Michael Ryan of WHO, actually the emergency director. He actually said that the 8 out of 10 of the countries with the highest mortality rate per population last week actually were in America, particularly South America, which accounts for 4 out of the 10 highest case incidents in the past week. Green Wall and Graduation. Report out of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Africa, and specifically the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, they actually have announced that COVID-19 has killed at least 32 lawmakers, which accounts for over 5% of their parliament. Now, mind you, this is a country of 86 million people, and it's hard to get a true sense of how much COVID is actually handling that country because of the low levels of testing. So we'll see what this turns out to be, but and this is a country that already has a lot of beef, a lot of drama, a lot of war and conflict. So, you know what I mean, people spread COVID-19 that way as well. Now on the flip side though, you got Britain. It was once the epicenter of the pandemic or whatever. They actually announced that they had no deaths yesterday due to COVID-19. This is the first time since last July that was the case. So, you know, that's a major milestone for them. So they're going to chalk it up to the vaccines, even though it seemed like they spreading them fucking variants though, right? Green Wall Graduation though. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida has actually signed a bill yesterday, the first day of Pride Month, that actually bans transgender women and girls from participating in school sports. Now, keep in mind, 6 other states, all with Republican governors, have implemented similar laws. But Florida is now the largest state to have this ban. That's looked at as an anti-trans bill. Now, you have the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, for those who don't follow me or whatever, because I cite them a lot. They do a lot of work, you know what I mean? Shout out to them. But Trey Strangio of the ACLU actually noted that more anti-trans bills have actually been passed in the past few weeks than have actually been passed in the past decade. So it's a sign of the times, clearly. But at the same time, you got Joe Biden that actually officially yesterday declared June to be Pride Month. He did this through a proclamation, and he actually vowed to fight for LGBTQ rights. I just want him to have the same energy towards the rights of black people. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how I'm feeling about June being Pride Month, the same month with Juneteenth. You know what I'm saying? But we need some of our black LGBTQ members to speak out about that, though. I'm gonna leave that alone, though. Green Wall and Graduation. Report out of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So JBS, the world's largest meat producer, they actually announced today that they're gonna reopen the majority of their plants after they had to close a bunch of them down this weekend after there was a cyber attack. Now, the cyber attack, it was called a ransomware attack. Ransomware meaning they hold your shit hostage till you pay a ransom. You know what I'm saying? The computer hackers do. Which the White House says likely originated from a criminal organization in Russia. Keep in mind, this is the second time that this has happened in the past couple months. Last month with the situation on the oil and gas transport throughout the U.S. that ended up leaving a lot of the East Coast without enough gas in their pumps. Specifically in North Carolina, they only had like two-thirds of the whole state didn't have any gas at one point. But with this ransomware attack, though, over the weekend, it actually forced them to shut down all of their beef plants in the U.S. and even some plants abroad. But we'll see how they come back. Green Wall and Graduation. Report out the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in New Mexico, you had State Representative Melanie Stansbury actually win over State Senator Mark Moores to fill the House of Representatives seat that was left vacant by Interior Secretary Deb Haaland. Now, this actually brings the total number of Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives to 220 and has the Republicans at 211, and there are 4 seats vacant. Now, one thing about Stansbury, I mean, she worked in the Obama administration, but a couple other things good about her. She's has a record of being progressive, has openly supported Medicare for all, as well as the Green New Deal. So, you know, we got more progressives up in there. Let's trickle that on up to the Senate and to the presidency, maybe. You know, Green War graduation though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Puerto Rico, you got unions that are staging a general strike this Thursday, tomorrow, and this is in response to the fact that Luma Energy, which is a private U.S. and Canadian company, has officially took over management of Puerto Rico's electric grid from PREPA, which was devastated by Hurricane Maria. I mean, if you remember back then, the country didn't have power for weeks at a time, weeks on weeks. So it is looked at as a big deal, but unions feel like the privatization of this of the electric grid will actually increase the cost of electricity, you know what I mean? Displace thousands of workers, and it allows for Luma Energy to actually leave the island if another hurricane hits. So it's not a lot of security there, but you know, we'll see how that turns out though. Green War on graduation.